This first module is about self-awareness, the first variable in the Crack the Girl Code. Have you ever heard the saying, you can't know where you're going until you know where you've been? That's the basis of this module. Knowing yourself, your likes, your dislikes, your passions, your wants, your needs, and more importantly, what you really want in a woman. Once you know yourself and exactly what you want, you'll feel so assured in who you are and begin to carry yourself in a way that exudes confidence and strength. Self-assurance comes from having a clear idea of your own wants and needs, your likes and dislikes, and who you are separate from the roles that you play and the people you interact with. You can be given all the tools needed to talk to women and date women, but if you don't have anything to offer past a few entertaining moves and conversations, then you'll be nothing more than a one-hit wonder with any woman you come across. It's true. Women can smell bullshit from a mile away. Now, while I personally have no idea what it's like to grow up as a man, I will say that I know exactly what it's like to grow up not knowing myself. In my teen years, I was a bit of a wallflower. I wasn't the most social of kids, and I sure as hell wasn't very popular. In fact, being around pretty popular girls gave me complete anxiety, like total anxiety. Just so you know, I'm not a lesbian, but I totally relate to your confusion, frustration, and fascination with pretty women. I get it. I see it. I totally understand it. When I was around a pretty girl that I wanted to like me, I couldn't speak my mind. I agreed with everything they said, and they always befriended me. But I knew it was because I put them on a pedestal and did whatever they said. So they liked having that around. I was basically friend zoned. In my mind, I never thought I really measured up to them. And I always got way too nervous around these girls to ever say anything or speak up for myself. Which, I know now is absolutely horrible. I wasn't being me because I didn't know myself. I didn't hold meaningful conversations, didn't have strong relationships, and wasn't really okay with how my social life was. I know that for a lot of people, high school and teen years can be like awkward, obviously, but I was definitely more shy, quiet, and reserved than most, which I'm sure is ironic at this point considering I now freely and openly talk to anyone and everyone, but we'll get to that in a second. It wasn't until I was 20 years old that I truly discovered the person inside me that I had always wanted others to see. When I was 20, I decided to get out of my comfort zone and go travel the world for a couple of months with one of my best friends. This best friend was awesome, but also happened to be one of the bubbliest girls I'd ever met, and she would literally go outside for a cigarette and in a matter of minutes would make 5 new friends, and it was annoying to me. I think I was friends with her because I was so badly wanted to be just like her. I wanted to know how to make people like me. So 10 days into our trip, I started to get frustrated with my friend because everybody loved her, and I was like the little dork who just tagged along with her. People would come knocking on our hostel door, looking for her and wanting to go out with her, and I was the sidekick who would just tag along and stand in the corner and not really contribute anything. I decided I no longer wanted to be the wallflower. I wanted to be just like my friend, the person who walks into a room and everyone notices, the person that caught people's attention, the person that people wanted to know. So I asked my friend what her secret was, and she told me. She told me that a long time ago, her brother told her that if you want to be a person that others are attracted to, especially women, you gotta really know yourself and own who you are. I immediately understood what my friend was telling me, and I quickly realized I had no freaking clue who I was, and I definitely didn't own who I was. I was so fixed on who everyone else was and what they wanted that I never took the time to really get to know me, what I wanted, who I was. This knowledge started me on my mission to discover myself. I wanted and needed to find out who I was. Who's Marnie? What is she like? What doesn't she like? What drives her? What are her passions? Who is she away from her family and few friends? Who is she outside of Toronto? Who is she at her core? Have you ever felt like you weren't sure who you were outside of your role as a son or an employee or a student or even a man? With the exception of being a man, that's exactly how I felt. So I took off to go find out, and find out I did. For the next 3 months while backpacking the east coast of Australia, I was on a mission to discover me and push myself every day to do things that I was afraid of. The first thing I did was get myself a rubber band to put on my wrist so that I could snap it, and I still have it today, whenever I wanted to do something that scared me. I don't really have to use it anymore, but I still have it. Every time I saw someone I wanted to approach or talk to, or every time there was something I really wanted to do, I would snap this rubber band and then say 3, 2, 1, go, and I'd go for it. To this day, as I said, I still wear the rubber band on my wrist, but I don't have to snap it as often. The rubber band got me out of my head and got me present in my body. It also reminded me that I can do it. Everybody can do it. For the next 2 months, I practiced approaching random people on the street and saying hi. It freaked me out initially, but over time, it became second nature. And then I just started asking more questions and having more conversations. I practiced saying what I wanted instead of being wishy-washy or not opinionated. I practiced approaching groups of people and working my way into their conversation to the point that I became the center of the conversation and was able to get the group to do what I wanted to do and be happy about it. It was amazing. And my friend was noticing this change in me and treating me totally differently. She no longer treated me like the innocent little friend that she had to protect. She treated me as an equal and a friend she respected, and that meant the world to me. In our last month, we split up because we wanted to do different things, and then we met up for our last week in New Zealand. I had been practicing on my own for a month, making new friends, hooking up with boys, basically having the time of my life, and hadn't even realized how much I had changed until I met up with my friend. She and I went out to this bar, and while we were there, I decided to get the dance floor going, which I'd never done before, since no one was on it, right? It was a great dance floor. By the way, I am an awful dancer, so I got up on the dance floor and just started dancing for me in the goofiest way I could. I then went up to tables and literally pulled people up to dance with me, and within a few songs, people were dancing and being goofy, and it was awesome. Later in the night, they asked if anyone wanted to sing with the band, and I immediately jumped up on stage and sang with the band, something I would have never done before. After I got off stage, my friend asked me, "Who are you?" And I turned to her and I said, "I'm finally the real Marnie, the girl I always knew I could be." And she hugged me. I was no longer intimidated by pretty people. Anybody, no people. And I never stood on the sidelines anymore with nothing to say. Most importantly, that eager feeling inside me, which translated to neediness, was totally gone. I spoke with a clear, assertive confidence because everything I said was my own thoughts and my own feelings, and I always spoke up for myself. When I returned home, people had no idea what had happened to me. People almost didn't recognize me just because of how incredibly different I was acting. And pretty soon, because I now knew exactly what I wanted for myself, I was attracting the most amazing experiences and people into my life. I knew what I wanted, so I did exactly what I needed to do to get it. When you dedicate your time to really finding out who you are and getting to know and love who you are, no matter who or what comes your way, women will see that, respect it, and cherish it. And you, for as long as you let them. In fact, I'm about to get all sciencey on you for a second. Women are biologically more inclined to desire men who are self-confident and have high levels of self-awareness. From an evolutionary point of view, these characteristics trigger women to view you as a more viable mate. Again, very sciencey. A man who really knows himself and his own capabilities, knows his strengths, knows how to utilize his strengths and his best assets to get what he wants, he is self-assured. And with that, women are sure of him as well. Which is why getting to know you before you figure out women is essential to your success with women. So this module is dedicated to you. Before there is us or that hot, amazing woman in your life, there has to be a you. You have to have a life. You have to know who you are and what you want. You have to state what you want. You have to know your boundaries. You have to know your rules. You have to be comfortable in your skin so that when you meet that amazing, awesome woman, you won't creep her out, scare her off, or lose her simply because her presence rattles you. And more importantly, you need to know how to turn yourself on and look at yourself as a confident, sexy, handsome, charming, and irresistible man. Because until you do, no woman will. So once again, I welcome you to the first module, which is all about you, in case you didn't get that the first time.